Well, hello everyone. We are waiting just for something to happen here. We will be streaming on Facebook Live, and of course we are having a little bit of issues with that. Okay. Yeah. Well, anyways, in the meantime, my name is Jorge Reyes, and today my peer Juan Manuel. He will be talking about professional certificates and enhance your career path. But before that, I'm struggling with the Facebook thing. Yes. Okay. So I guess we can continue with this. So thank you all for being here on time. And today, remember that we are celebrating International Education Week. We are Education USA advisors in Mexico. And with this, can we move on to the next one, please, Juan Manuel? There, for this one, Juan Manuel, he wants to try this interactive manner of presenting. So if you can please go to menti.com and enter that code or scan that QR code. This presentation will be interactive, so you can follow the presentation and you can react to the presentation. So at the bottom part, there is a heart reaction, a question mark, a thumbs up, a thumbs down, what it seems to be like a devil or something like that. So yeah, so please free to react onto the presentation and all that. And before Juan Manuel starts to talk about the certificates and all that, just let me share a little bit of what Education USA is. Remember that this presentation, it also has closed captioning. So if you are, I don't know, in the bus or whatever, you can also activate these captions and you can follow us, reading us and all that. So with this, can we move on to the next one, please, Juan Manuel? Just as I said, before Juan Manuel starts talking about certificates and how to enhance your professional path, just let me tell you a little bit about what is Education USA. Maybe this is your first time with us, maybe it is your second time, or maybe it is your fifth time, I don't know. But we have to promote what is Education USA, and we are a global network of advising centers from the US State Department. We offer accurate, comprehensive, and current information about the full range of accredited U.S. higher educational institutions. And with this, we are the official source from the American government to provide this kind of information. And all our services are for free. So thank you all for being here on time. And we can move on to the next one. We can see how you guys are reacting already. We see the heart shape reaction, and we also see the thumbs up. So pretty good. Keep it going. So this is a quick review regarding a guide that Education USA has. These are the 5 steps. So as you can see, the first one is research your options. With this, we mean that you have to look for the options, not the university as you may think, but first you have to look for your options. What do you want to study? If you want to study an undergraduate program, if you want to study a graduate program, and in this case, if you want to study a certificate in something. So this is the first step. Second one, finance your studies. How are you going to pay for this education? How are you going to pay for these programs? Where to look for options, where to look for scholarships, and where to look for other kind of resources to help you pay for these kind of programs. Complete your application. We as Education USA advisors in Mexico and all over the world, we have covered these steps like widely, and we have a lot of resources on each of one of these steps. So the third one is complete your application. This is a process that almost every university in the States will follow. So please approach to us and we can give you further information regarding not only this third step, but for every one of them. The fourth one, apply for your visa. As you can see, the visa process, the visa step, it's in the 4th place. Why? Because as many students might think that, okay, in order to go to study to the United States, you need a visa. Yes, you need that, but that, as you can see, that is not the first step. That's the fourth step. Why? Because it is a process, and yeah, and the fourth step is apply for your visa, because you need an acceptance letter from a university in order to get a student visa. Okay, and the last one, you can still reacting with the hearts and the devil shaped thing and thumbs up and all that. Okay, and the fifth one, it's prepare for your departure. What is this? Once you have your acceptance letter and once you are ready to go to the United States, to the university, we prepare you with cultural shock information, with do's and don'ts as an international student and all that. And just as an advertisement, in Mexico, we have created this, we came up with the idea of this step 0. Okay, so if you want to know more about the step 0, so please reach out to us, and we will be covering this step in the upcoming year. So with this, Juan Manuel, I guess you are up, and it is my big pleasure to present Juan Manuel, my friend and peer. So Juan Manuel, take it away.
Thank you so much, Jorge, for that great introduction and letting us know about Education USA services. Welcome everyone to the this session. We, like Jorge said, we're celebrating International Education Week. And we are also using this platform, Menti, hopefully. So if you are just connecting, let me just go back a little bit to the instructions. So you can go to menti.com and then write that code 57736725, or you can scan this QR code. Just hopefully everyone is able, so you can participate and interact with us. So if all of you are following either this via Facebook Live or through here, maybe give me a I see it as the shape of a cat. So maybe you give me cats if you are following me on this. So give me cats reactions. All right, I see you guys. Perfect. Awesome. So today we're going to be talking about, as you saw in the topic of this session, we're going to be talking about certificate programs. But before we get into the certificates, I do want to talk a little bit about one of the reasons why we might be looking at certificate programs, and is this idea of professional development, right? And it seems like an idea that we might be familiar with, but I just wanted to check before that we all understand what do we mean by professional development, and what are some options that we could look into when we are trying to grow our professional persona, professional career, right? So when we talk about professional development, we are referring to continuing education. That's another synonym that we sometimes use for professional development. And the idea is that you do this kind of training after you have already entered the workforce, right? Once someone has already started working, then maybe you finished the degree, maybe you have a bachelor's degree or a master's degree, you enter the workforce, and then after working for a while, maybe you realize that you might want to maybe continue your education, your training, right? And then the idea for this is that you are trying to develop new skills. Sometimes you want to stay up to date on current trends. Maybe you graduated 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and maybe when you graduated, you were up to date, right? But then after that, new developments have happened, right? New things, new ways of doing things, new knowledge has come up, and you as a professional, you want to stay up to date, right? And then and many times we also professional development helps you to advance in your career. Maybe you're looking for a raise, a promotion, right? So this is going to be a way that we can get professional development can help you with that. Now, why is it important? Why is it important for you to think about professional development? Well, one of the things is, like, according to some statistics, only 1/3 of the workforce, uh, well, 1/3 of employees say they're not really doing anything to improve their career persona, their professional career. So not, it doesn't mean that the other 2/3 are actually doing something, but uh, 1/3 of employees are not really thinking about professional development, right? The other two will might be thinking about it. Some of them might be actually doing something about it, but just by starting to ponder this question, you are a little bit ahead of your competitors. We need to understand that the kind of environment, work environment that we are, and then there's always something that you need to be doing in order to be competitive, right? So by taking advantage of professional development opportunities, continuing your training, continuing your education, you're actually planning ahead and getting already having an advantage over pretty much over 1/3 of your peers. Now, continue with this idea, what are some of the benefits for you to do professional development, right? Maybe you say, well, I'm comfortable. I like the place where I work. I like where I'm at. Why should I be pursuing improvement, right? Well, one of the things is like you can expand your knowledge, the knowledge that you have, right? You maybe you have already um, have an expertise in what you do, but you want to grow that expertise, right? That knowledge base, you can grow it. Another way for you to why for you you should pursue professional development. It's because it's going to help you boost your confidence, right? When you maybe go and apply for another job, or when you are looking for that promotion, or when you're doing a presentation, why should we believe you? Well, I have the credentials. I have been growing. I have this path of professional growth, right? So it brings confidence to yourself and also adds credibility to your own credentials. It of course is going to increase your earning potential, right? When employers see that you have been working on your own professional development, it adds, right? Compared to other professionals that don't have the credentials that you're trying to get or the experience that you have, it improves your earning potential and your hireability, right? Now, doing also professional development is going to help you with your networking opportunities. I once heard that one of the big reasons why you want to go to school is because you make connections with other people and with other professionals that are in your same field. And doing professional development and the different ways that we're going to be talking about is going to help you to do that. Of course, it's going to help you to keep is to be current and the trends that you see in your own industry, right? Maybe if you're in the medical field, you're going to learn new ways of doing some treatments, for example. If you are in the building and the construction field, you are going to also learn about new ways and strategies for doing things, right? So it's a way that you can do and you can um, uh, further your professional career, right? And then also one thing that many times we don't really think about, and especially if you are connecting here from Mexico, is that we don't really consider career changes, right? We many times think that what we went for college to, that's what we're going to do the rest of our lives. For example, if I went to school to do accounting, we many times think that that's the only job I can do because I went for school for accounting and I'm going to be an accountant for the rest of my life, right? But we don't really many times consider career changes and your professional development as you see and as you grow and get more experience in your field. You see new fields where you can start going and you see that the professional development that you create for your own is going to help you there. So regarding that, I want to ask you, maybe you guys have a a weird dream, or I don't want to say a weird dream, but just a dream that maybe if you weren't what you are right now, what other profession or what other job you wish you have had or you wish to have. So I know, for example, that some people say, well, if I wasn't a teacher, for example, I would be a businessman, right? Or if I wasn't a businessman, right, I will be a musician, right? So I want to hear you. I want to read you. We want to read you. So what would be some of those for you, right? What will be? So I'm gonna give you a few seconds, probably a minute, so you write down, what is that for you? What is your thought? And I'm actually going to write mine too. Oh, interesting. I give you a few more seconds. Interesting. Wow, we'll have quite a few teachers here. That's pretty cool. I'm glad to see you guys. All right, remember that if you're just joining, remember that you can participate and follow us on the menti.com webpage, writing down the code that you can see at the top of your screen. Interesting. Yeah, 10 more seconds so you guys can participate a little bit more. All right. Now, my idea with sharing this is that I know that we as human beings, we have varied interest. And now the disadvantage of that is that we kind of have to choose one of those interests and what we decide to do with our lives, right? We kind of have to say, well, I kind of like need to choose between if I want to be an educator or if I want to be a baker, right? Or if I want to be a veterinarian or if I want to be a drummer. And it seems like very early in our lives, we are forced to choose between these ideas, this interest that we have. And as we continue and as we grow in our in our professional life, we keep learning that these interests are still there, right? And maybe there's something that we want to do with those. Now, I'm going to continue, but you guys please continue participating. Now, what are some of the ways that you can do this professional development thing, right? This idea, what I'm talking about, right? And let me know if you have thought about any of these, but also in your cell phone, if you're following this on your cell phone, you can comment also, and we will see also your comments here. But some of the ways that you can continue your professional development, it's one of the most common things is going back to school, right? For a degree. Some people say, okay, I want to continue learning. Maybe my next thing is going, if you already have a bachelor's degree, maybe you're thinking of a master's degree or a doctoral degree. If you don't have any of that, maybe you want to start at an associate's degree with an associate's degree of a bachelor's degree, right? That's one of the options, but going back to school is not the only option for your professional development for a for a degree. You can also do short-term trainings, right? I mean, sometimes it has to do with courses, right? We take courses that would help us. We take certificates, we do workshops, we attend conferences. All of those are also going to help you in your professional development, right? And specifically here, as you know, it's the one that we're going to be talking about today. But also, you don't really, if you're thinking about other ways to do professional development, you can also do professional development without going back to school. Sometimes you do professional development while you're working, and maybe it's taking up on a project that takes you out of your comfort zone, right? That is going to be a challenge for you. And you say, okay, I'm going to sign up for this project. I don't know exactly how I'm going to do it. There's a team, I'm going to learn, and I'm just going to stretch my professional abilities, and I'm going to grow. That also counts as professional development. You're learning new skills. And I think all of us that have been in the workforce already, we know that we have grown from the professionals that we were last year, 2 years, 5 years, because of projects that we have gotten involved and we learn, right? Now, let me ask you a question. Can you think of any other professional development opportunities that maybe I'm not mentioning? Of course, there might be a little bit more, but you can put them in the comments section. You can see here, over here in the corner, you can put what other ways of doing professional development. Have you done any of this? If you have done any of this in the past, either growing, either attending short-term trainings, or maybe you went back to school for another. So why don't you give me a thumbs up, right? If you have done any of this for professional development. All right. Cool. Now, let's talk about the education part, right? Maybe you have done the other ones also, but today we want to focus on one of them, right? And you say, okay, Juan, I want to continue my growing in my profession. And I think for me, the answer is going back to school. What are your options? If you want to go back to school, what are your options for professional development, right? If you already have a bachelor's degree, one of the ideas might be to continue. Sometimes people think about another bachelor's degree. The most common way is going to the higher level, which is a master's degree. And those are shorter duration than a bachelor's degree. Many times, and most of the time is going to be a 2-year program on average. They tend to be a little bit more emphasized on industry and applicable skills. However, there are some of them that are a pathway into the PhD program, so might be a little bit focused on research. Now, maybe your next step is actually doing a doctoral degree, right? Maybe you're thinking, okay, what I want to do is I want to invest 4 or 5 years of my life studying a very deep, specific topic. These programs tend to be more into the research area, but we're learning that there's more and more programs that are doing more of a industry focused also. So those are the most common, but I don't know if you knew that there's other options that you can do in going back to school, but maybe you're not really interested in a master's degrees, or you're not really interested in a doctoral degree. You're thinking, what is over there that could be shorter? Something that I can do that is more flexible because of the things that I want to do. And that is the main thing for this session that has to do with certificate programs. And today we're going to be talking about what these certificate programs are and how can these programs help me to improve my professional development. Now, I don't know if you have heard before of certificate programs. If this is the first time that you're hearing about certificate programs, please give me a question mark. If it's the first time, if you have not heard and you have question marks because you did not know and you're learning. And if you have learned about this, please give me a heart. If you have heard about this before and you're here because you want to learn more, right? But if you were like me, a few months ago, I did not really know in depth about certificate programs and how I can take advantage of those. Now, what are then certificate programs? These are programs that are specialized They are designed to strengthen, and I really like that word, to strengthen your skills, your career skills. And remember that in English, in Spanish, sorry, we use the word career as the word like as carrera, right? Meaning, for example, when we say terminé la carrera, we mean I finished college, right? But remember that in English, the word career doesn't really refers just to your school time. It refers to your whole path as a professional, right? So you can have a career in teaching after 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, right? It's the whole time. So professional development certificates can help you to strengthen every single in any point in your career, right? Meaning the whole time. Now, certificate programs are considered continuing education because they build on the knowledge that you already have, or in other cases, they give you new knowledge without really building on anything that you had before. Now, follow me here because we're going to be looking at the different kinds of certificates, but that's something that you should have and remember that either they can be specific and further deeper into a specific topic, or they can give you the basics for other topics. Right? And now, in what things you could do a certificate, in what topics? I have some examples here, but I do want you to maybe in the comments give me a little bit more, right? So you could do a certificate program in marketing. You could do a certificate program in business. You could do a certificate program in gender studies, in spiritual and religion, and hospitality, and what else? Health administration, and I don't know what else. You guys give me some ideas in the comments. What else you could do a certificate programs? As you can see here from the examples, you could pretty much do a certificate program in whatever comes up to your mind, whatever is your interest, whatever you are planning or thinking that could be your next step, right? Quantum mechanics. Yes, you could do a certificate on that too. Now, I want us to understand the different ways in we could approach the certificates. One of the ways that we could start getting closer to this idea of the certificates is by their level of expertise, the kind of content that they give us. And as you can see here, let me go back a little bit. There we go. As you can see here, some of these are going to be for beginners. And what I mean is that maybe, for example, you have been working at a company, okay? And you realize that maybe you're stepping into a new position. Maybe, for example, maybe if you were a teacher, now you have been promoted to be a coordinator. Or even the principal, right? Or maybe you are just stepping into a similar but slightly new position, and you realize that there are some abilities or there's some knowledge that you're lacking, that you don't understand. For example, maybe you are now in charge of also managing the social media strategy for your company, and that wasn't something that you had before, and you're new. Maybe you don't even have a Facebook or Instagram account, and now all of a sudden you are in charge of creating a strategy because of the new role where you have been put in. So you could get a certificate into social media marketing, right? As a beginner, right? It's like you can say, I don't know anything about this. I want to understand because of this new thing that I'm going to do. Sometimes it's for recent graduates who want to develop their skills in a particular topic that is not really related to what they studied. I'm trying to think of an example right now, but maybe if you graduated, if you graduated as an accountant, for example, right? And but you notice that as an accountant, you also need to learn a little bit about a specific portion of law, maybe. So you think, okay, I have a basic understanding, but I need to learn a little bit more on that. So that's one of the ways. So there's beginner programs. If you are just new into a specific field, there's programs that can help you to understand the basics and get you knowledge on that. Now, there's other kind of certificate programs that are going to be advanced programs. And now the idea for this is that maybe um, you are in the same company, for example, but you notice that there's an opportunity to grow if you had more specialized content. Let's say, for example, that you are in oil engineering, for example, and you're working at with an oil company, but you see that there's a place, there's a need for people to know about uh, dynamic of fluids, right? But you need that deeper understanding of dynamic of fluids because of the needs that you are seeing around you, and say we need knowledge that would go and be very specific into that. Maybe you did your bachelor's degree or your master's degree, but now that you are in the workforce, you are seeing that you need to get specialized in order maybe to keep continuing in your industry. And then you see that, right? You see that need. So an example that I have here is maybe, for example, you work for a company and where you have you learn data processes, right? You do data processing, but you want to get specific knowledge and one specific language, processing language, right? So you say, I don't have that. I may want to learn that. I don't need a master's degree to do that. So I just want to get into a certificate programs that would teach me that specific, more specialized. So this is one of the ways that we can separate certificate programs. Remember, beginner programs, which are if you want to get your feet wet into a new thing. And we also have advanced programs that are going to continue building on the knowledge that you already have, but more in depth. Now, there's another way that we can divide this, right? And it's might kind of like repeat what we said earlier, but just another way to explaining certificate programs. Now, remember that the last one was certificate programs depending on their level of expertise, right? Now, let's look at the certificate programs depending on the purpose. Why do I want to study a certificate program? Now we have the ones that are for undergrad certificates, which is that, remember that undergrads is before you graduate. So some of these undergrad certificates, what do you basically here's what do you want it for? Do you want it because you want to start working already, but you don't want to do a whole bachelor's degree? You can think about those. And then they're more directed towards skills and workforce development. So for example, if I want to be a plumber or a hairdresser, right? I can just get a certificate that would give me the tools for me to start working hands-on already and doing the job, right? Now, also, there's undergrad certificates that are designed to complement a college major. So let's say that I'm doing a major in business, right? Or here, as an example, we have here in economics. But as part of my major, there's the opportunity for me to take a certificate in global labor studies. So it would complement my major. So it's not really taking another major, but it's making it specialized, right? So if I'm studying my bachelor's degree, there's a pretty good chance that my school have those certificate programs that can help me add more specialized or more credentials to the major that I have, and hence become more competitive. Does that make sense? Give me a thumbs up if you guys are following me. Awesome. Now, The other part of this, the dividing it by purpose, is the graduate certificates, right? Graduate certificates are um, classes, right? A certificate that gives you the opportunity to get deeper into something, right? In a field of study. And you say that you don't want to take 2 years for your master's degree, for example. When you think I want to get deeper, so in my case, for example, let's give you my example. I studied applied linguistics, and that was my master's degree was in applied linguistics. But I noticed in the website of my program that if I took 3 classes more, I could end up with a certificate besides my master's degree. So my master's degree, like I said, is in applied linguistics, and I took 3 more classes during the summer, and I ended up earning also a certificate in computer assisted language learning. So remember, I study applied linguistics. We talk about languages. We talk about learning, how processes happen in the human mind for learning. And this certificate was in the topic that I was doing my master's degree, but it was deeper knowledge, specialized knowledge in learning how to use computer to teach languages, right? So many degrees will have that also. So depending on the purpose. In that case, my purpose was to add another credential to my master's degrees to make myself more competitive, right? And then this is interesting. At the end of this paragraph, we have that 2 of the most common fields for post-master's certificates are in the field of education and in the field of healthcare. In education, it's probably because that once we are out of college, right, we realize that there's a lot of many challenges that we were faced in our programs, right? We say, okay, I need to go back to school because I need to learn how to do, for example, teaching to students with disabilities. Maybe it's teaching to with teenagers or with students with children, right? Or maybe you are into advising. Maybe you are into counseling, right? And then healthcare, again, another one of the fields that you know that every time that there's many challenges and we need to keep learning and we need to keep updating ourselves. So now that was thinking about types of certificates by purpose. We talk about level of expertise. Now we talked about them by purpose. Now, how long does it take to do a certificate program? And here's when it starts to get tricky. Thinking about, I mean tricky because it really depends. And that's one of the things that we don't really like saying, but we say it a lot because it really does depend. Now, the benefits of taking a certificate program is that it's going to be shorter than a master's degree, than a doctoral degree, than an associate's degree, than a bachelor's degree, right? That's the idea, right? And because they're shorter, they're also going to be less expensive, right? And also, you need to understand that these kind of programs, they are prioritizing practical job-related skills, right? Now, on average, certificate programs could take probably from 3 months to 7 months. Now, remember, what does average mean? Average means that half of the programs are less than that, and half of the programs are more than that. So if we say that 3 to 7 months, that's the average, it means that you will find programs that could be 1 month long. There are certificate programs that are just 1 month long. Also, you're going to find certificate programs that are going to be 1.5 years long, right? And we'll talk about that, but you need to have in mind that there's just as a variety and there's a pool of options according to your needs. Now, I don't know if you were like me, probably you also have these 2 words confused. A certificate versus a certification. Okay. certificate versus a certification. And I'm going to try not to get us confused with this explanation, but so far we have been talking about certificates, right? When we're talking about certificate, understanding that is going back to school, right? It's an educational process. I take classes, and after I finish those classes, I get a document that says Juan Manuel has finished all his classes to get a certificate in my case was computer assisted language learning. And they give me my document. I'm super happy. I have the knowledge and I can put it on my resume saying, I know how to teach languages through computers, right? So that's a certificate. It's an educational process. Now, the other word here is a certification. Now, a certification is slightly different. There's not really an educational process, right? And it's basically a professional credential that, and hence the word, certificates, that says that you have the knowledge and the skills to be given that official credential. In many fields, you need to have a specific certification to be able to practice that profession, right? In many fields, for example, in education, in law, in medicine, in counseling, in social work, you need to prove that you have the skills and the knowledge to be able to perform your professional duties, right? And many times you have to take an exam and study for that exam. And if you pass the exam, you get the certification, right? But it's not the same as a certificate. A certificate, like the one we're learning here today, is an educational program. You enrolled, you study, you take classes, and at the end, you have a certificate that you finished that program. All right? So those are the two words. So if you understood that, please give me a heart. And if you still have questions, please give me a question mark, because it's okay to have questions. It's okay. If you still have questions, it's okay. We can come back to this idea. But just wanted to have that clear out of the way. Now, we talked about what is certificate programs, what are the difference, how can I start to making those and understanding those. But now, what are some of the benefits? Well, one of the benefits is that you are going to have skills development while you do this, right? Well, going back to school is going to help you to learn your technical skills, continue knowing, getting up to date, as we said, but also learning about transferable skills, right? Many times certificate programs maybe are not going to be really about getting deeper into your knowledge. Maybe sometimes you learn that you need to have a certificate program in communication because maybe you need help with how to address your ideas, how to do presentations. So sometimes certificate programs can also help you with skills that you need in your job, like critical thinking, decision making, attention to details are going to help you with that, especially if you've been out of the school system for a while, right? Another thing, another benefit for certificates is going to be, of course, it's going to give you a resume credential. It enhances your resume. Now you have a certificate and this other thing. And one of the things is that I think it looks great on your resume. Yes, because of the knowledge, but also it talks about your commitment to continued learning. Employers want people that are thinking of self-improvement and wanting to do things better. And when a employer looks at your resume and see that you are actively thinking on how you can improve your professional persona, it's going to look great on your resume, right? Now, of course, you just don't do it for that, but I'm saying that's just another benefit, right? It also gives you networking opportunities. Remember that either if it's a certificate program that's going to be online or in person, it gives you the contacts of other people that are in the same path as you. Right? If I go into a certificate program into marketing, for example, I'm going to be sitting in class, either in person or online, with other people that are doing similar things, and that's going to give me networking opportunities to help with other people get new ideas. And like I said at the beginning, that's another one of the great benefits of going back to school is for continuing forging more connections. Right? Uh, and then, like I said also at the beginning, certificate programs give you the opportunity to explore new careers, to expand your potential, to say to employers, I'm open also to this other careers, right? Maybe I'm thinking about making a career change, and I don't know if I want to study a whole master's program. Maybe a certificate program is how I want to get my feet wet. And many universities know that that's the way a lot of people do it, that they want to test the waters first by just enrolling in a certificate program, and they know that that is the beginning path also to do a longer program, right? So that's also another thing that can help you, give you more confidence, feel more prepared for you to pursue a different career. And then the last benefit that I want to talk to you about certificate programs, and that they are cost efficient. And of course, one of the main things is because, like we said, certificate programs are going to be shorter. And that is just going to be that there are programs that are cheaper. And also, not only because they're shorter, but because remember that these programs have young working professionals in mind. So they also tend to be more flexible, thinking about you as their target uh, audience. They know that they need to be more flexible, offering school classes online, hybrid programs. For example, there was one certificate program that I was looking at that allowed me to take some classes online and then have 2 weeks in the summer and then 2 weeks in the winter, so I can attend in-person classes, but have most of my classes online. So they give us the best of both worlds, right? And also another thing is that many times there's scholarships from different sources, sometimes from the school, sometimes from the industry, sometimes for different organizations. For example, if you are thinking about doing a certificate program in literacy, for example, of course, I'm thinking that there might be governments or schools that might be interested in providing funding for you to learn about that. Foundations, right? If you're doing something in electric and engineering because you're thinking that you want to do something with solar panels, right? Well, there might be someone in the industry or a scholarship from an industry that, because it's interested to have more professionals learning about that specific topic, there might be. So and now it's your job to find those also. Now, okay. Now we talked about the different kind of certificates. We learned about benefits. Now, the question now, getting to the end of our presentation today, before we go into the question and answer time, how then do I identify what is the best certificate program for me? Where can I start? The first thing that I want to tell you is that you should focus on you. What are your goals? Why do you want to continue with your professional development? Why do you want to go back to school? Okay. Is actual going back to school your next logical step for your professional development? Right? What are the skills that you want? What are the skills that you need? Have you thought about that? It's just not studying for studying. This is going to be an investment of time, of money. So identify what are the new skills that you need to learn. And in order to do that, what is the professional that you want to be? What gap in your academic and your professional life are you trying to fill with this? Is it you want to strengthen your career? You want to change career? What do you want to do? What are your goals? And for this one, you need to sit down and write and think, what is the best thing? What are your goals, right? So determining why you want to learn more about an area, career, or industry can help you decide the best place to do that. If you don't know why you want to do this, you're not going to find, it's not going to be easy to find the place where you want to do that, or the content that you want to do that, where you want to do that, right? So the first place where you want to start it, what are your goals? Do I want a promotion? Do I want to change careers? Do I just want to be a better professional at what I do? You need to look then. Then after you have talked, after you've gone through that process of what are your goals, and you identify what content and skills you need, then you're going to start looking at the programs, right? And you're going to be researching institutions and universities and see what is the content that they cover, right? What is the content? What are the actual classes? Who is teaching those classes? What is the experience of those professors and teachers and what they're saying? And if they align with your specific goals, you need to start again with your goals. And once you have those goals, then you can start looking at the schools that may have those goals. And then start with a list. You can do a list of 10 schools, 20 schools, 50 schools. Remember, you're going to invest time and money in this because you are hoping to get a return of your investment. So you want to be very strategic. Now you need to consider also what is your availability? What is your budget? How much time do you want to spend? Maybe you want to have a program that is 2 months long or a year long, because those are the programs that have the content that you actually want. Remember that you're not just doing this for the certificate document. You want the knowledge, you want the skills. So how long is it going to take you, right? Maybe you're going to find a school that has the solar panel certificates in 2 months, but then you're going to find another one that has solar panel certificates in 6 months. Well, go deep, look into the program, the materials, but see how much time do you have available? How much money do you have available, right? Are you planning on going over there and study it? Are you going to take that online? What is the content versus the cost? So there's a lot of planning and being strategic on this, right? And maybe there's a scholarship opportunity in one of those programs, right? What is your reality like? Do you have family responsibilities? Maybe you already have a family in your home country and you cannot really travel for long term, right? What is your specific situation? Remember that what is the flexibility? Remember that these kinds of programs are designed with working professionals in mind. So many of these certificate programs are going to be very flexible. So you need to start with you. What are your needs? Going back again, what are your goals? What is your budget? You need to figure out that with you first, and then start looking for programs that fit what you are looking for. In the US, there's more than 4,000 universities, and I bet you all of those universities are going to have certificate programs that might be interested for you. Now, what is your homework? What is your homework here? Well, if you haven't spent much time thinking about your goals, this is the time to do it. Evaluate. What are your goals? What are your options? What are your career plans? Your aspirations? What is the professional that you're looking to be? And what are the skills, the knowledge that you need to be that version of your professional you that you want to be, right? According to your circumstances, your life plans, your needs, your resources, right? Your financial and your academic profile. So there's a lot of thinking. Now, probably you came here looking for answers, and hopefully you got some answers, but at the same time, I'm leaving you with more questions to you, right? More questions going to you. What is that you're looking for, right? Think about those things. Now, this is getting deep, so I'm just gonna send it back to Jorge. Please, if you guys have questions, write them down, type them down to Jorge, and he's going to be sharing those questions with us. If you have questions, please send them over and we're going to be answering some of those. Jorge,
Yes, we
welcome
do have
back.
some questions here. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
thank you, Juanma. I want to apologize because I thought that the cat was a devil. Sorry about that.
It looks like a devil. That
Did
was
it?
my first. That was my first thought too. But oh, it
Yeah.
might be a devil. I think I like the devil better.
Yeah, well, anyways, I guess it's a cat or a devil. Yeah, whatever. I mean, it's a reaction, I guess, right? So yeah, so Juanma, so we do have a few questions over here, and we are running out of time. So I want to go fast in this one. So I want to select what I think are the more relevant for this webinar. So the first one, Juanma, could I spend a gap year to get a certificate that will draw me near to my future program?
Sorry, say that again.
Yeah, could I spend, let's say, a gap year to get a certificate that will draw me near to my future program?
That's a great. I think that's a great way of getting, like I said, your feet wet in the field that you might think that you might have an interest, but you're not really sure if you want to spend the next 2 years, 4 years um, of your career, of your life doing. Also, to see if that is your passion, right? Also, is a great way to build up your credentials, your CV, right? Doing a certificate and doing a gap year. Well, I don't know if this person is asking as an undergraduate student that is looking to study undergraduate, or as someone who has already finished the bachelor's degree. But in both ways, I think it is going to have now. The only one that will have that answer finally, it will be you, the person who asked. Um, what are your plans, right? Is it anyways you were thinking, what is your budget, right? Is it something that you were going to do maybe anyways? Do you still have questions about if you want to study that? Um, but I would say it sounds like a good idea. It sounds like a good idea in general. I would advise that person to get a session with an advisor to give us a little more detail. But judging from the outside, it seems like a good idea.
Yeah, and I think, as you mentioned, it will be look on your resume as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, next one. How international students can take advantage of these kind of programs?
That's a great question, because the reason why we are doing this session is because these certificate programs are open for international students. Now, one of the things is that we should be careful when looking at all the different options for certificate programs. Many schools are not used to having international students enrolled in their certificate programs. I think in their mind, it's something that they advertise more for their domestic students, for the students from the United States. But there's more and more interest from international students into those. So some of those certificate programs might not be available for international students now, but if universities see that there's more interest and more interest, growing interest of international students, which it's something that is growing, they will also make those opportunities available. But yes, there are certificate programs that are, many of them are open for international students.
Okay. Next one. How can I check the different offer of certificate programs? Where to look for these programs?
That's really a good question. And um, I would say that you can find those certificate programs in the listing of degrees of the schools, right? You are going to find there, even if you're looking at a community college, or if you're looking at a four-year institution or a research institution, in their academic offering, you will find a section there which says, for example, bachelor's degrees, master's degrees, PhDs, and you're going to have certificate programs, right? You will find them there. Now, it's going to be like any other of the other programs. It takes time researching and looking for the institutions that are going to have programs of your interest. So it's going to take time. Now, my suggestion will be that if it's a university that has a bachelor's degree or a master's degree in something that you like, they already have a program, it is very likely that they will have a certificate program related to that. Like, for example, in the one that I was studying, I said I did applied linguistics. When we looked at the offering, you will find the certificate in computer assisted language learning, right? So, but it's because they have a master's degree similar to that, right? So when you look, you could start by looking into the bachelor's or master's degree program, and if they have something that is of your interest, it is very likely that their certificate programs are going to be close related to that, but more with the focus on uh, professional development, meaning continuing your education.
Okay, great. Do we have time for two more?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Next one then. Do you know some of the requirements for these programs slash certificates?
That's a very good question. Many of the in the ones that I have seen now, this is one of the things that I want, kind of like a disclaimer. There's many different programs, and each university gets to decide the what they ask for. But at the same time, we can also think of a general thing that many of them are going to ask. In my experience, what I have learned is that the application process for a certificate program is very similar to the one that we do for a for any other programs, for a master's program, for example. When I was looking into one of the application websites, it basically told me, do you want to apply to the master's degree, to the PhD, or to the certificate program? And then if you choose any of those, the next things are going to be pretty much similar, if not the same. You still have to write an essay. You still have to do all those different things, because remember, even though it's a program that is focused into more practical and many times hands-on, you're still going into an academic program. You're going into an academic program, and you need to fulfill the requirements that they have. Especially, remember that there's different kinds of a specialization, especially if you're going into one that is going to be deeper, that's going to give you deeper knowledge at a graduate level. Of course, they need to make sure that you have the English language levels, that you have the skills, right? Writing skills and all those things. So it will depend on the school, but at the same time, I can tell you that is very similar to the process that you do for a graduate program.
Okay, and the last one. Thank you very much, Juanma. The last question we have here. Could I just have a certification in the US as a Mexican student if I am already in the professional field?
Yes, yes, that's one of the reasons that we are doing this session, because many times we don't consider just going to the US for a certificate program. Remember, certificate program, I think the question was, use the word certification. That is slightly a different thing. But yeah, you can go to the US, especially, what you need to look into is, what is the need that you're trying to feel, that is the need that you're trying to meet back in your job, and say, okay, where do you see yourself in the job market here in Mexico, and say, okay, I need this knowledge. I need this. None other of my colleagues have this knowledge, and if I go and get that knowledge, I'm going to have an advantage, and it's going to take me 6 months. It's going to take me a 4-month class, right, or something. So that is one of the reasons. But you need to be very strategic and think, what is the knowledge that I need, and how am I going to use it here? Remember, like we're saying, this is an investment. You need to think very strategically, what is the content and what is the resources that you have, but where do you see using that knowledge, back here, and how is that going to help you move forward in your professional plans? But yes, that is the main idea. Yes, you can do that.
Okay, well, those were all the questions we have. Thank you very much, Juanma. And yeah, I leave you to for the farewell.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jorge, for helping us today with joining, helping us prepare this session and doing everything and running it. I hope that this was useful. So give me a cat or a devil, which it looks like both of them. So give me a cat or a devil. If this session was useful for you, hopefully it was, please contact me for us for any if you have any further questions. We'll be happy to help you with your career plans. We'll help you with helping you figure it out many times. What is your next step? So thank you so much. Have a great night, everyone. And we will see you in our next session. Happy International Education Week to everyone. Goodbye.